Hello, hello, hello. We have a new chapter of the One Punch Man remake. This is chapter 110. It is very enticingly titled Atomic Samurai. What was happening at the end of the last one? We had our big fight between Orochi and Saitama. We had King running into the kid who turned out to be a monster, and he got Doki Doki'd out of existence. The King engine reducing him into a tiny puddle. Yeah, alright. So what is Atomic Samurai up to? What sort of fight scene will we get of him? I am excited to find out. We return to his three subordinates who have been fighting the hair-striking monster, which was something I thought was original to the remake, but people have pointed out that it was in the webcomic too. A lot of these things that were in the webcomic, but only as just like one panel, just like a quick kind of, oh, and this fight happened too, are given so much more detail and depth in the remake. So I hope you forgive me if I forget a few things like this. Speaking of the webcomic, I'm sure you're all aware, 3 new chapters of that have come out, so don't worry, we'll be getting to those soon, too. Excuse me. The hair monster, revealing its Achilles heel is my hair. I think that was in the webcomic, or at least I can very easily picture it in the style of the webcomic. That's hilarious. My Achilles heel is my hair. The hair that I've been attacking with the entire time. The hair that is my one prominent feature. Has kind of like a Star Fox logic to it. Alright, so they won! All we did was rush in and cut his hair. Terrifying opponent with threatening offense and defense. Yeah, they did quite well. It was a pretty scary monster. And we can... Scary monster, if you will. I like the damage that's been dealt in the background. Just like the depth of these cuts and stuff. The three-dimensionality of it, I think is quite cool. It's close even with all 3 of us. One-on-one, our swords wouldn't be able to keep up. Many others like him. If so, it would be tough to deal with the remaining monsters. Won't have to worry about Master. And this is something that I really like throughout the Monster Association arc that we've talked about before. That it really shows off the stratification of the heroes and the monsters. That we see some of the S-Class and the A-Class that are along for the mission struggling with certain things. But then we cut to the S-Class and we just see what makes them in these upper echelons of the S-Class. So let's see. Why is Atomic Samurai the 4th rated S-Class hero, I believe? It's because of stuff like this. Did he just cut through the sound effects? Am I viewing this properly? No, I don't think so. At first I thought this foregrounded black thing was actually like something written in katakana. But I think it's just the silhouette of a unfortunate monster that is now in multiple pieces. This is an amazing shot. The way it's presented with all blackness just being cut through with the thinnest line of light and then revealing that this is a massive slice through everything in his vision. They all explode into blood. Not just cut once, but actually diced into itty-bitty little pieces. Luring them here, then cutting them in half with a single swing, as expected of the great Swordsmaster Atomic Samurai. So there was someone there that was able to defend, it looks like. I am the one who dedicated his soul to the blade, Sword Devil Executioner. Blood will be my fuel as I march towards being the greatest being in the world. So we saw already some samurai that monsterified way back in that awesome scene with the Order of the Sword. So this is par for the course for our boy Atomic S. I don't remember if this guy was in the webcomic. I don't recognize him. His design is pretty cool. I haven't played this game, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, or whatever it's called. But this is what I imagine it looks like. You know, samurai-y and demon-y and kind of bulky with, like, you gotta figure out how to penetrate the armor or whatever. So he goes at Atomic Samurai, swinging like mad. I love how this is depicted, that Sword Devil Executioner's body is like a total blur, as he has to like move his arms entirely, put everything into the attacks. just to keep up with Atomic Samurai, who is entirely perfectly still except for his one arm. Just effortlessly deflecting all of these attacks. So we are equal! His cuts so precise that even though we can see them all over his body, nothing has actually been severed yet. He can still speak for a second. Anyone who hasn't been sliced up yet, raise your hand. Okay, something else approaches. Ooh, Machine God G5. Now this character's been hyped up a little bit. We've seen him around, and we know that he comes from a series of machines that have appeared to battle with our protagonist before. There was one deployed, the Genos fought way back, the same time that Speed of Sound Sonic was messing with them, I think. I can't quite remember. So this is all part of like the mysterious organization that's making and deploying these robotic weapons. Atomic Samurai battle data acquisition complete. I have a complete copy of all your sword techniques. Please stop your pointless resistance and present me with your neck. Now this one is a monster. So, I mean, sorry, a robot. Not just a flesh and blood monster, not just a corrupted human or whatever. So conceivably, the armor on its body could just be so rigid and tough that Atomic Samurai's blade couldn't get through it? Doesn't seem likely to me, though. Atomic Samurai seems like a little more respectful of this opponent. Concentrating on him fully, actually facing him, swinging his upper body in a meaningful way. It looks like the Machine God is doing the exact same technique. So he's going up against his clone when it comes to, at least, the theory behind the techniques. But as you can see, again, Atomic Samurai blatantly showing just how easy this is for him. Standing just like normal, as if he was just hanging out. Whereas the Machine God is in like a power stance. He's rotating his whole upper body in order to slice these attacks. So modern toys are very well made. Maybe I should order one online. These could be good for training. His disciples could fight against it all day. See if they get any better. Arrogance won't last. I will now gradually increase my speed. So now I guess that he's confirmed the validity of the techniques. That he really is doing the same moves that Atomic Samurai is doing. Then here he'll show how he surpasses him simply by doing them all faster. Which, as a robot, it's quite trivial to do that. You know, you just increase speed. It's speed variable. Plus. Easy, right? Okay. Just increase it already. Here I was thinking I finally found a sparring customer for my disciples. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. He orders another copy. My true ability isn't simply copying techniques, but also altering and upgrading them. As a robot, I am able to bypass the limited range of motion that human joints possess. I can thus create brand new, previously unheard of sword techniques. Mock battle calculation complete. 23 attacks of mine before your torso is severed. Max speed! So he does like a little chess type thing, you know, like mate and however many moves. It's like pretty robot-y. Sure. Atomic Samurai seemingly very unimpressed by all of this. This is probably the most intense and fastest sword fight we've seen depicted in the remake so far. Just this kind of succession of blurry speed slashes. Here we can kind of see how the increased speeds are being depicted. That the slashes get a little tighter on the outsides of them. They move more angularly. You know, it kind of depicts like it's not just like a gradual like whoosh anymore, but just like it reminds me of One Piece and the fight against Rob Lucci. I think that's still my crowning example when it comes to depicting these sort of things in fights. Like, how do you get across the excitement of that additional speed, that additional force? I think stuff like that is really cool. So I like to kind of keep aware of it. Done 23 attacks already. I'm going to recalculate. Speed adjustment, technique copy, double jointed limbs, simulation and prediction. Those are all great abilities. But, so, what is it that makes Atomic Samurai so strong? It's not as mysterious as like Watchdog Man or Saitama, of course, because Atomic Samurai we know is kind of disciplined within a school. He has students whom he teaches. He's obviously very practiced, and yet his arrogance suggests sort of a transcendent power, something that he's supremely confident in, above and beyond just the results of his studies. Like, because on paper, yeah, he should be kind of freaked out by this robot that apparently can mimic his movements and then go even further than the human body is capable of. And yet, not for a second does he break a sweat. Not for a second does he frown or seem concerned. He just ridicules the robot again and again and again. All right, so what is it? So they're all great abilities, but you'll need a lot more than that to reach me. To put it in simple terms, so even your toy brain can understand, you're missing the fun factor. Ooh. Okay, I really like this. I really, really like this. This hints at many, many kind of recurring motifs and ideals of characters within the series. It calls back to like Suiru. It reminds me of Garo. And of course, it reminds me kind of the inverse of Saitama. That Saitama wants that same thrill again. He wants the fun. And it really does explain why Atomic Samurai acts the way he does. That he's looking to have fun with his swordplay. He's looking to get some sort of very personal, giddy satisfaction from slicing things up the way he does. And the robot, yeah, the robot can never feel like that. The robot, although it can copy his techniques, can't copy the motivation behind them. And thus, they'll always pale in comparison to someone who is truly motivated from within. Didn't cut its core. Don't tell me there's something extra hard on the inside. It begins to explode. Now I'd like to see, this is maybe too much to ask, I'm not really sure where One Punch Man in its lore stands on abilities like this. But, you know, I feel like in general the rule is if you can imagine it can be done. But do you remember in One Piece, and I'm always going to reference One Piece, when Kinemon cuts the explosion? I want to see that. I want to see Atomic Samurai cut the explosive force of the robot into pieces. Last resort attack. He deflects it easily and then slices back with an air blade of his own. A classic manga samurai type technique, you know. You just slash the air and then the air traveling forwards. It's been so ubiquitous in fiction that I feel like probably a lot of people think this is actually possible in real life. In fact, now I find myself wondering if some extremely minor form of this is possible in real life. But obviously not this sort of air blade. Just slices through everything. Got away. I'll leave the escapees to the surface team. Pretty favorable. So it didn't really self-destruct. It fired off the laser and then blasted off to the surface, I guess. So this hint at the surface team, we haven't seen much of them lately. I think the last shot we had was their reaction to the gigantic tunneling attack that went upwards. Even their improvised teamwork is better than what we have going on. I love the way that the S-Class heroes took on this mission, that immediately all they wanted to do was just split up, go deal with it on their own. Each of them confident that they would run into the strongest monsters and have no problem in doing so. There really is very little teamwork to be had. Okay, meanwhile, Child Emperor leading the kidnapped executive's son, begging him, "You'll escort me safely to my dad, right?" He's not down with just getting to the surface and being left. What a brat. What a brat. Stay with you that long. Your bodyguard duty will be transferred to the other heroes currently on standby on the surface. Don't worry about it. They're not S-Class. Oh my god. Oh, what a brat. So we went from Atomic Samurai praising the surface team, praising their teamwork and their resolution, to this stupid brat demanding S-Class, feeling only safe with an S-Class. Some I fight. The enemies are strong. I must return to the battlefield and support everyone as soon as possible. Oh, I just love this about the Monster Association arc. The way the monsters are actually so strong. Like, they weren't ready, the heroes, for the monsters to actually be this strong. And they'll never be ready. They'll never realize how horrifying the monster's force actually was. Because Elder Centipede, Goketsu, and Orochi, 3 of their strongestest fighters, all just wiped out by Saitama before they could even lose to them properly. I'm really worried about them, since they don't know the first thing about teamwork. They need to receive directions from someone on the scene. Yes. They're so uncoordinated. And I think it's kind of cool because it sort of explains downtime in the plot, you know? That none of them really have a good idea of where they are, they're not searching effectively, they're probably retracing the steps of other heroes unwittingly, and that explains why it's not actually just all non-stop fighting, that there's actually downtime where the heroes are just kind of wandering about. You're the leader? Even the rest of them are all adults? I wanted someone to take my place. I don't have the time for such topics. It's fine, I was a class representative once. I hardly go to school. Dang. Child Emperor is so strong. Okay, they're almost at the exit. Things are looking good. But we know. Nobody's getting off that easily in this arc. But yeah, I like this idea. The Child Emperor is one of the few actually responsible, non-egomaniacal people in S-Class. One of the few people that are willing to like take a step back and consider things and to listen to other people. I'm safe at last. That was quite a scare. Meanwhile, this other poor kid, Garo's bud, being left all alone after Garo's latest struggles, is now being chased by Black Sperm. Black Sperm, you know, we've seen him a couple times. He's certainly been hinted a little bit that he's pretty strong. But y'all have no idea. Oh, well, I assume you guys read the webcomic, but you know, even though, like, I assume people watching these videos are big One Punch Man fans, and that you read the webcomic and stuff, isn't it fun sometimes to, like, step outside and think of the perspective of someone who just reads the remake manga, and to figure out, like, what would they think of these situations? What are they expecting? I like that. Or even further, like, what if you just watched the anime? Like, what would you expect? What would any of this mean to you? So yeah, what's up with this little munchkin-looking fellow in a pajama hat and a black bodysuit running around trying to chase this kid? Yeah, here we go. Threat level dragon, baby! I'm not gonna do anything much to you. I'm just gonna kill you. That's it. Boom, you're dead. It'll be over in an instant. Oh, he's so great. What a great character. This panel is like so reminiscent of the webcomic too. I think a panel very, very, very similar to this appears in the webcomic. Just the way his face is drawn. He's kind of the monster equivalent to like your Saitama or your Watchdog Man. Where there's like kind of an explanation of his powers later, you know? He's made up of trillions and trillions of sperm. But like, stuff doesn't really make sense. Like, why does that make him strong? Alright, a cool shot. He doesn't have, like, energy blasts or anything. He's just strong. He just can run around and fight. Ooh! Oh, that's... Oh, I think in the webcomic, this doesn't happen until later. This much-fated showdown. So Atomic Samurai respects the agility of Black Sperm, leaping quickly over his, air sword blast. Oh, that's it. That's the end. Alright, good. Pretty exciting. Good job, like, hyping up Atomic Samurai as a character. First by showing his disciples struggling so much, and then he himself just massacring monsters. And then we had another nice little diversion, kind of catching up with the kids. And then finally, the fated showdown, the hard counter to Atomic Samurai's fighting style, Black Sperm. Let's see what happens. I'm really looking forward to it. And of course, let's see what happens in the webcomic too. All right, bye-bye.